Well, hello friends, and welcome back to the cabin. I hope that you guys enjoyed the little build so far up to this point. And I'll tell you, the reason that I'm doing it this way, which is not the way that I would normally build up here, but I've just got so much to do that I needed to get on with the program. And I've got to finish the workshop down there. I've got to get the siding on there so we don't get any rain and moisture blowing in, get set up in the timber frame joints, you know, and cause deterioration. And I need to get started on a root/storm shelter for us to be able to get in the event of bad weather. But I've got 4 5x5 hickory posts that I had saved, the same material that I built the ledger board out of, and the 2 posts down there that are supporting this right here. So once I burn these and oil these up, this hickory should last hopefully a good long while. Now, I'm kind of running short on hardwood material, so I do have an oak log down there, but I would basically waste quite a bit of that oak log because it's not long enough to cut 2 planks out of. So I'm going to have a lot of waste out there on the end, and I've decided not to do that. I think what I'm going to do is just go ahead and cut up pine, put as my walk boards up here, oil those, burn them really good, and you know, maybe in 5 or 6 years, whenever they deteriorate, I can pull them up off of this fairly easy and replace them. This is some angle iron that was left over from Jennifer's garage doors. There was actually quite a bit of it, and there were, you know, several pieces so long, and I just used it and kind of cut some strapping material, and then I bent it on the vise to be able to use this to anchor down to the concrete. And what we'll do is we'll take one of these and we'll anchor on this side, and then we've got another one we'll anchor on this side over here, and then that will keep those from moving. I had one piece, I guess this was left over from building the solar array, which is actually long enough to cover the front. Then I've got a factory 2x8 by 12 that's pressure treated. I'm going to go ahead and rip it up and put it right down in the middle. We'll connect it to the front right here. It'll rest on that ledger back there and kind of give some of the middle some support right here, especially since I'm decided to go ahead and use some pine for that. But I think that this is going to be very strong. It will be a straight handrail, but we're going to do it up good and make it look nice. But I sure am glad that I found these 4 pieces of hickory that I had stacked back in there where I parked the tractor underneath some other stuff. So I set it out here for it to kind of air out just a little bit, because 2 sides were just a little bit on the damp side, but the rest of it has dried out pretty good. I mentioned to you about doing the root cellar with dovetail notches on the corners, so that's something that I've never done before. But I think what we're going to do is we'll either purchase one or we're going to build us a jig so that we can put it on the end and just use the chainsaw and cut that out and just kind of smooth it out with a slick a little bit and maybe a little bit of a sander, and then all those joints should go together because they actually interlock on the corners. Now they will pull up, so we're going to have to fasten them down as we go, but I think that, you know, interlocking like that is not only going to make it stronger, but I think it would go a whole lot faster than doing a timber frame. Well, I'm going to walk down here to Jennifer's place because she pulled in and hollered at me. She wanted me to come down and look at some flooring that she's picked out for the house. So let's run down here and check it out. Well, friends, this is what she was hollering about. This is what she wanted to show me. So these are some samples of some flooring that she's got picked out that she didn't, it's not from a big box store, but from a regular flooring store that does only flooring. But we'll go from left to right. So we want you to let us know which one of these that you like the most.
Do you like number 1, Grandeur Oak? Number 2, Midnight Oak? Number 3, Smoked Rustic Pine? Or number 4, Tulsa Oak? Let us know.
Well, friends, I think that she has decided to go with white cabinets with dark countertops, and she was wanting to know if we could make a range hood out of some material that we had here, which I was thinking about some of that black walnut would really look nice with what she's got picked out. The only thing is I don't have any way to dry it here. I can air dry it, but it takes 6 months to a year. But my friend Nathan, if I can get it cut and run it up there to his place, he does have a kiln, so there's a possibility that we could do that. Like Paul Harvey used to say, now you know the rest of the story. Well, we've been getting so many different types of questions. I thought that I would take a little bit of time on the review channel here and answer some of them. One of the questions was about the truck that I talked about, well, it was a couple of weeks ago, that was just driving crazy up and down the road. Well, I have seen it again. One time it was going into town as I was coming back out, but I didn't have time to cross the medium to try to, run it down to get the tag number or anything like that. And then I seen it sitting on the side of the road at the very end of the road, and it has come through here several times, but it has been driving decently this time. So I don't know, maybe that police officer actually went and talked to him. I don't know, or maybe they've had a change of heart. We also had another comment about the solar protection. We had some suggestions, like one wrote in that we could use like a tarp, and that's actually a good idea, in a bind or in a pinch. It's better than nothing, right? And they may make tarps that are thicker. I was reading somewhere where you can get some stuff to spray on there, but I wouldn't trust that at all. Somebody else wrote, how about some wire mesh, kind of making a frame. That way light would still go through. I guess they were talking about leaving it on there permanently, which I don't intend to do that because I don't have a way to fasten it down on the back side to be able to keep from blowing, when it's windy. So this would be something just in the event of a severe storm that we might have that had hail. I need to be able to protect that some way down there with some sort of an idea. And I like the wire mesh idea. That might be the cheapest way to go. Just build a frame and put some wire mesh on it. That would keep, the hail from coming down. And if it did hit it, it would break apart. I'm thinking if it hit it hard enough, it would break apart. Of course, some of that may go right on through there. I'm not sure. I don't know, the idea I had was just like some 1/4-inch plywood, nothing really thick or anything, but some way that had a hook on the top to fasten it and be able to latch it on the bottom. That way I could put it on and then take it off, and the 1/4-inch, would deflect, or it would actually stop, and it would absorb the impact of any hail that, happened to be this size right here. So really good ideas being sent in from you guys that would work in a bind, that because I do have a couple of big tarps I could actually lay up there. Oh yeah, and since the last video, I had a family member come up and bring another $200 gift card because I mentioned it on the last video. So I think from now on I will mention it every video. That way they'll be coming in on a regular basis. No, I'm just teasing. That was totally something unexpected. I had no idea that they were going to do that, but it is definitely a blessing because I was telling my son I think we'll use it to fix the brakes and a few things on the little red truck so that we can get it back running and operable. The shipping containers, putting that in the hole over there. That's a good idea. One reason that we can't do it though is because we don't have the money to buy one. Second of all, if we did buy a shipping container, it's still going to have some things done to it where it would be reinforced to be able to hold weight of anything that you may put on the sides or on top of it. So, I think it would probably be just as easy to go ahead and build one because resources and lumber is something that I have here so that I don't have to spend any money on that, only the money for gas and oil basically to cut it up, right? That's probably going to be what we do. We're still going to lean towards using the resources we have, but these are really good ideas. We also had some comments about the frog gigging. They said when they were kids that they were allowed to kill anything on the property as long as they ate it. And I can remember when I was a young boy, I would be out there hunting rabbits, and as long as it was the right time of the year, I'd be out there skinning that rabbit and cooking it up over a campfire just like they did on Bonanza. That was what used to be one of my favorite shows. I can remember coming in when I was a kid. My grandmother had an old tin plate, kind of like I've got a couple in there where they got a porcelain cover on them. She had a metal fork with a wooden handle. And I used to love to get out pork and beans and sit there and eat while I was watching Bonanza, thinking that I was just like those guys around the campfire. You know, growing up like that, I'll tell you what, I had some really good times in trying to, you know, pretend when you get out there that you were this or that, whatever impressed you the most. And it used to be the outdoors that impressed me, and cowboys and folks like that. So that was really interesting. Someone else said that they used to catch horseflies and that they would use a trout line to catch, you know, bullfrogs. And I'll tell you, that's another way to do it. You don't have to actually use a spear and gig them. You can catch them with a trout line. Another question that we had was on the generator system that we've got for the solar shed right here. They wanted to know, does it have an auto start on it? I guess maybe when the battery gets so low. The charge inverter that we have, it bypasses the inverter. It's not hooked up to it in any way, shape, or form. The only thing that it does is when I crank that generator up, it goes straight to the battery. Puts in a steady stream of voltage for the batteries to charge, so that they don't have large fluctuations, because we have heard that you can ruin your batteries that way. There's no automatic start on it. And you know, I'm only a few steps away from the cabin, from the juice shack right here. I can just run outside and, you know, crank the generator and let it run, and come out here and check to see where the battery level is, and, you know, whenever it's full, just cut it off. Comment that we had was someone, and he knows who he is. His name is John. He's from the UK. He said that if he lived closer, he would be up here helping us to not only mill up the lumber, but to build that storm shelter, and we certainly do appreciate that. And all help is, you know, we don't turn any help away, actually, and we do our best to feed them while they're here. But I thought that was really nice of him offering to do that, because he's clear across the pond, guys, on the other side. But that was really nice for him to say that. I'll tell you what, friends, we've been using this solar system now for 1.5 months, almost 2 months. And we haven't had to use that generator yet. And we even came through all of those bad, nasty days since the first of the year, time after time after time, with all those different weather patterns, you know, down in the single digits during the daytime, and still was able to create enough juice, even when it was snowing and we cleared the snow off and they'd go to charging. With all of that weather, we still haven't had to add anything to the battery bank down there, because the system works so well, and those bifacial panels. So if you're interested in going solar, I would definitely recommend the XP6000 by Signature Solar. It is one heck of a system. Friends, thanks so much for stopping by. We certainly do appreciate it. And we look forward to seeing you back up here at the cabin again next time.